what type of opportunity are you talking about? Are you identifying where the opportunity is and going to it? Or are you only looking for a certain kind of opportunity? Because most players are going to think that opportunity means playing on the power play, getting the points, getting the most amount of minutes. Sometimes there's opportunity in other places, though, if you choose to see it. Charlie, tell you we're working out together now?
Yeah, I love it. Love it. I love it. Love it. He was saying that to me. And that's actually how I was going to start the podcast off today, with working out. But then I'm going to go into something else. But like I was going to say, yeah, so you just said that Charlie started working out with you. I know, because I drive him in here every day. And that's what he was saying. So I'll go back.
Just started.
For me, no, I'm actually really fired up for myself too, because now that it's amazing you can make more excuses than reasons, right? You could find ways to be lazy, whatever you want to call it, but it's easy to get leaky, right? So I took over the last couple of years, taking a look at myself, but I was busy watching my son play hockey and transition with selling my business. And, these are all excuses, but what I let go, and I'm embarrassed, to be honest with you, embarrassed, upset, all the adjectives to describe how I feel about what I've done to my body. And not because I was a Greek god. Well, I used to look like a Greek god. Now I look. So you got to edit that?
I don't know. We'll see.
I think it's okay. I don't think it's a bad thing. But my point to that is, it's so easy to get leaky, right? And for me, I've been making, this will be my new start date. This will be my new start date. And then with traveling up the road and all this stuff, and the stress of selling the business, starting the new thing, and kind of your mind does a lot of weird things to you, and then you could just make excuses. And with the excuses come, going to a game, going to a cottage, going to this, that, the other thing. Well, I'm going to have a couple beers, so what's the point? So I've always been active enough to not get to explode and be a slob, and I've always been intelligent enough and disciplined enough to eat probably 70% properly. And I've always done enough to stay active enough, like, of course, being on the ice, but I've always either got on the bike for a pretty good rinse, or got in the gym at least a couple, 3 times a week. But in the last couple of years, it's just been like, too much going on upstairs. And with that, like, this is for a parent, like, this is why I can say, for parents, when you're involved in your kids' hockey, even though, like, I was able to back off and just kind of watch, it's in the brain. Like, you're thinking for your kid, you want the best for your kid, all those scenarios play out with you, and then you get in the car ride with your wife and you talk about things a little bit, and there is a stressor there that's there. And then, so anyways, I let my fitness go, obviously, because if you're watching this, I've got more chins than a book right now. Right. And it's embarrassing to me. Like, it's actually truly embarrassing to me. I don't feel right. So anyways, when this is awful to say, but when Charlie was finished, when they lost in the playoffs, part of me was disappointed for him. Part of me was not happy that it's over, but it had a chance for me to reset and reevaluate. Like, okay, there really are no excuses. So, like, I've been back at the gym, and especially with him being home, we can clean up the diet because he has to stay fit. So it's like we're on the same page now. And Eric, it's unbelievable how the thing that you love can be so hard to do. So, like, even when I was going through like the stressful times of selling the business, and the stressful times with my son playing hockey, when I would get to the gym, and that, number one, that's the one thing that's going to make you feel better. I'd get in there, and as soon as you start moving, you feel just so much better. And then you dial in, and then you're better for the day, and then it's just keeping it going, right? So anyways, I feel really, really good right now, because I'm like basically on week 2 of like no sugar. I had a couple beers on the weekend, but like this weekend, I'm going to try to go for a month or so without touching one beer, which is not a big accomplishment in life, but for me, because like the people I'm around is always drinking beer, it's a decision, right? But once, it's amazing, it's absolutely amazing when you make a decision, when you say, okay, enough's enough, and you make a decision, how life decisions are so much easier. So like, there's not, I don't even question over the last week, and it's only been a week and a half, but I don't even question like reaching for something. I haven't had a snack at night out of boredom or anything because I made a decision. It's every day. I'm going to put my time in, get the thing done, and I just feel better. And it's amazing how you're not bloated at all. It's just everything's clearer, everything's better, and it's just the way I feel like I've always been wired. So I feel a lot better about that. So I'm really looking forward to spending the summer tightening it up, and then I made the best that I can do it next year with the team. I want to be there in the workouts. I want to be with them and doing my own workout, and just to show, because I think it's really important for, not that every coach has to do this, but I think it's important that the kids see that, well, coach pushes himself, man, or is strong, or is in shape, or gets there every day. So that was just how I wanted to start that off.
Yeah. Well, I think I had meetings today with our teachers, and we were talking about. It'll make sense in a second. Just bear with me. Just kind of talking about how the year went, and like kind of the year-end meetings, and seeing where everyone's at, what they need moving forward, all that. And a big part of our meetings was talking about the culture, like what kind of, and that's something everyone says, right? Like you want to be a part of a good culture and all that stuff, but what does that actually mean? And then how to actually implement it in a real way that people can understand, because a lot of these types of things people talk about, but is there a way that you can, if somebody came and asked us about the culture at the school, or whatever we're doing, is there a way we could actually explain it? What are the things we actually do to improve it? And I'm an action step guy. Like what are the actions we're actually taking? I don't want to just loosely talk about things or have pointless meetings or things without any real results. And I think whether it's, the fitness, or how we're integrating with the kids or the families, the parents, the standards we hold. Like, I don't know if I said this on a podcast yet, but I banned fast food from the academy.
I know,
Like,
I love that.
it's like all those types of things contributes to the broader culture. And I am just such a strong believer that the adults are the ones that set the example. We're the ones that set the tone. So if you want kids to come and buy into what you're saying, to some degree, you have to be doing the things that you're saying. It doesn't mean that you have to be perfect. And in fact, I think there's value in being able to be open about the fact that you're not perfect, and things that you struggle with, and all of that stuff is good because it's real, and the kids can see like you're a real person. You're not just pretending to be something that you're not, and all that stuff, because everybody has different struggles in different types of ways. But if you want that to be part of the projects that you're working on, whether it's at a company or your whatever hockey team or anything, if you want that to be part of it, everybody says they want good culture to be part of it. I think it really does start with the people that are in charge. So for you, if you want to be able to jump into the workouts with the team and show that you're still somebody that can do the things you're asking, and you give them the reinforcement of, yeah, I've done this before. Like I know what this is like. I know what you guys are going through. I think that helps to build the relationships with those kids. It helps them to trust you. It helps them to understand, like, this is a person that has tried to do the things that I'm trying to do, and makes it more relatable. And then ultimately, we always say, like, the environment is the best thing about the place that we're at, because you're in that environment for long enough, it's going to bring you up. Like, you have no choice. You're just surrounded by it all the time. Eventually, it'll infiltrate some part of you to make you a better person, or a better player, or a better athlete, or whatever it is that you want to be. So I think that's awesome to hear for you, because I know it's been something you've been talking about. But what I think is even more, I think it may be important on like a side note, is it's so much harder. You could probably speak to this better than me. Like, I think about this sometimes when I'm talking to parents or people that are already adults that never got into it when they were young. And it's really making me value even more for these kids how important being involved in sports, how important it is to be involved with things that are challenging. Because even for somebody like you, where the difference, you can make your own program, you can make your own workouts, how to structure a diet, how to do all these things. Life challenges still are really hard to overcome for everybody. And so for people that have never been into it, I can only imagine like how much more challenging it is you have all these life stresses, plus you don't have the knowledge of where to even start. Like, you walk into a gym and I'm just confused, or in the kitchen, you have no idea how to make anything, or you have no idea about macronutrients or what your body needs or anything like that. And so I do think, like, for the parent, I think in the most empathetic way that I can say it, I can appreciate the position that a lot of them are in, where they don't really have a knowledge base in how to take care of themselves, or how to be a good example in different ways. Whether it's because maybe they don't read books, maybe they don't care about their diet, maybe they don't work out, maybe they don't care about their job, or whatever the things are that they need to care about. I can appreciate that thing, but it's just so critical if you want to impact your kids or the people that you're around in a positive way, that you are trying the best you can to be that type of example. So I think that's good for you, because I know that you've been talking about wanting to get back to that. So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. But like I said, there's a million excuses. And you can just sit there and say they're just excuses, and they are, but they're also like reasons as well to a certain extent. And like I've even noticed with you, like obviously I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but over the last um since I sold my business and you've been full time here with the different stresses, like your girlfriend, wife, whatever you want to call her, Christine, and the hours that you're working here, and like you legit don't have a whole lot of time to do much, and you have to squeeze it in, like it's affecting your workouts. Like, and I remember you saying that to me, like it's, you feel like you're going sideways, and it's like it wasn't an excuse. It's actually, you actually would, in order, the only way that you could work out is getting here really really early, right? Or else it doesn't work, or is it not going to get it in? So, but you had a reason not to come in and an excuse not to come in, but you found, okay, in order for me to do something that's important, I got to get here at this time, which means I got to get here early. It's the only way that you can do it, which you've always done, but it's not the same workout that you did 2 years ago.
Well, I think that's even more challenging about it is that in my mind, I legitimately don't care as much about the workouts. That's the most challenging part. Is I know the difference between I really care and prioritize this versus now it seems like my value system inside is starting to shift, where I'm willing to let that take a back seat more than I was before. I'm starting to feel myself switch it back just because I know better. And that's what's going to be helpful about having Charlie around, honestly. Like, as much as it's super helpful for him, like I would be here either way, but just having someone around you to do it too so he's pushing me more into revisiting the athletic style workouts in the program. Like, I'm going to do the program that I made, and like it's fucking hard. So that part of it's good, but in my mind, I know that it's just not as much of a priority right now, which that makes it even more challenging because
And this is the other thing. This is, I think you were running into the same problem as me, is like the sale of the business, your kid, your family stuff's on your mind and stuff like that. And all of a sudden you're going to work out, and your mind, like as much as the workout, and like if you go for a run or lifting or whatever it is, as much as that should be freeing for your mind, if you're locked into what's my next task at 8 o'clock in the morning, well, okay, and when you work out, you go, okay, I only got 15 minutes left. It changes how you're doing it, right? Like your mindset. So it's good. So I was really glad. Yeah. So Charlie was working out with me to start off, which I'm not working out with him because I do different stuff now. Um, and last summer he basically, and by the way, for anybody listening, Eric put together a program that has been incredible for so many guys. Like, it's awesome, and he doesn't want to change one thing about it. And last summer, for the most part, because you were so busy, you couldn't really oversee him ever. The other day, he said, "I think I want to see if Eric could be around because like I just like to bounce things off of him." And like he said yesterday and today, he goes, "I just like it so much better when Eric's there." You've influenced his life in a huge way. Huge way. And I think that, it's not your responsibility to make sure he works out anymore, but it's nice to see the friendship, that a coach friendship, whatever you want to call it, where it means something that you're there because he wants to make sure, like, you're his coach, one of his coaches, and he just wants to make sure, like, am I doing good, coach? And you motivate him in a way that other people don't. Not like he sits there with a cheerleading hat on or anything, but you know how to push his buttons and make him I guess it's a part of it is like you're a coach that if you do it right and you say that's a good job, he's probably proud of it, right? So someone that you want to impress, which is pretty good.
Yeah, and the thing for him too, like I kind of said this to him, the reason why, and part of it is a sacrifice on his end because he has to do it on my timeline if he wants me to be there. But he did. And the thing for him that I said is like, this is pretty much the most critical time, where probably the last 2 years, but then especially this year, all of the people that thought they wanted to be hockey players, they're done now. So now he's very much alone.
He's on an island.
He's very much alone, and that's what happens.
Alone, but not. Here's the thing. Here's the freaking thing. And this is kind of work into the later conversation. Everybody says they want to do it, but they don't. That's what Steve Ott told me and Charlie a long time ago. Everybody says they want to, but how badly do they really want to? There's still a few guys around that will work out. but it seems like they don't really want to do the work. And like, for example, if I mention to kids, get a track coach, to the parents and the kids, get a track coach. You're not 5 days a week. Get a track coach. Do extra. Find a hill. Do extra. Go to a boxing club. Get your conditioning. Do something on your own. All this stuff. Do this workout. It's like it's hard though, and they don't say it's too hard. They just say 5 other reasons why they don't. So it's not like he's totally alone. But yes, the players are running out. His age group at 20 years old. 20 years old. There's not a whole lot of players left that are serious about hockey or playing still. And the ones that are, and this is, we've seen this for years, it's the easy way out is easy. Just give me the easier way. And there's a big difference in long term. We'll see how that plays out.
Right? Well, that's kind of what I was kind of getting at with him, is because you don't have the group energy anymore, it can be real easy to not do it just because no one else is here. And so when you're in that world by yourself now, like when the road is getting, now it gets lonely, man. Like this is where it can start to get lonely, because he's not the guy that was the number one guy that's going to get everything given to him all the time. But he is still on the path. So he's going to be one of those guys where it's like going to be a serious grind. Like it's going to be a serious grind. So if you want to stay committed to that, then the way I was saying it to him is you need to be maximum selfish right now. Like, so I said, I don't think it's good for you to work out by yourself. I think you need a trainer. I think you need somebody there to keep you accountable and to make sure that you stay on the path. And obviously I'm the best case scenario because he's super comfortable with me already and all of that stuff. And he doesn't have to build a new relationship or, get out, work with someone who doesn't really know him or how he works and all that stuff.
And, so I'm not the best at all anymore. I'm his dad.
Yeah.
And I'm like an old man now.
Right. So for him to stay on track when, everyone's 20 now. So his age group at least. So everybody has maximum freedom. Everybody can drive. Everybody can go to the casino. Everybody can drink. Everybody can do all the things they want to do. They can do now. And so if you want to be distracted, this is the maximum amount of distraction now that you're going to get. And you want to try to line things up best you can to make sure that doesn't happen if what you care about is the hockey thing, which is not going to be easy, man.
And how easy to go sideways? Dude, so when his season ended this year, it was a Monday or a Sunday. Doesn't really matter. It was one of those days. And yeah, it was a Sunday. Tuesday, they had their exit meetings, whatever, Wednesday, whatever it was. By the second day, like a couple guys got called up to the American League, and he wanted to spend like a week because the team was really tight. But what you're doing is like you're celebrating, right? So, but I'm telling you, the honest to goodness truth is, since the day he's been home, the options to go and do, like, to go drink, to go to a cottage, to go do this, go to a bar, like, it's every single day. And the call is never. I just got asked the other day to go to Vegas to see Bonesy play in the finals with a couple of old teammates, and of course that'd be great. So like, so when does your training start? When does it start and when does it stop? So, and it was just like me going on the road watching the hockey. It's like if I was serious about my training, if I was still dialed in, it would be like, okay, we're not going out for dinner. I'm not having a beer. Like all these things are distractions. You either let them get in your way or you don't. So like, he could be drunk till August if he wants.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm proud to see the decisions. Like, no, I can't. Just like he always does. I'm going to map out these times to have the fun, but this is what I have to do to make my living. And now he's making a living. So now it's important, right? Now it's either he eats and pays his bills or he doesn't.
Yeah, it is super cool. I'm thinking of this just in real time, how we've mapped between like your story, my story, his story, the different stages of going through what are the struggles, what are the pressures, what are the things to focus on at every age, going through all the steps, and then reflecting on you now, like at your stage of life and my stage of life and his stage of life, and kind of seeing how all those things plays. It's super. It is interesting to hear, but.
So I'll go to what our topic is if we're gonna get there. So ironically enough, I had a friend call me 2 days ago, who's an avid listener, who I played with, who played pro for a long time, was a kid in the OHL or 2 or 3. I'm not going to say exactly because I don't want anybody to overly guess, but it was a conversation. And he said, called me up and he goes, "Hey, okay, so listen, I got a podcast topic I want you to talk about." He goes, "I think every parent would like to hear this." So I'm like, "Okay, what?" He goes, "Okay, so talking about his own life, his own kids, right?" Because opportunity. If you don't get the opportunity, how do you perform? I said, "Yeah, that's a good point." And so he told me the scenario with one of his kids going through. And I said, "Okay, so I'm gonna lay it out to you, and I want you to kind of speak, and then we'll go on it." Okay, so the opportunity. So how he said it was, so he's sitting here with one of his kids, and going into whatever year it is in the OHL. And I got to remember, this dad was a professional hockey player, high draft pick in the NHL too. And he's sitting here asking a question that every parent asks. So I thought it was good, and then no different than anything I didn't go through with my kid. So he's asking, number one, for my opinion. Number two, he goes, "I really think people would like to listen to this." Okay. So opportunity. He goes, so like he's sitting in a situation with his one kid going into whatever year it is. I'm not going to say exactly. I don't want anybody to try to figure this out because I'm never going to tell you anyways. And hasn't had what his father or the son feels is the right opportunity. Feels like he's getting buried. And honestly, I agree with him to some degree. He might have been buried because of an agent, because there's little things like that happen. Or when you get traded somewhere, sometimes that person gets an opportunity ahead of someone else. I've seen that a whole bunch of times my whole life. But it seems like his son's always the one that gets buried, even though he performs pretty good. Okay. And he goes like, "They were not going to trade him." I said, "Okay." And if he doesn't get the opportunity, what do you do, Packer? What do you do? And I said, "That's a good question." So we went through a whole bunch of scenarios of like what's going on with it, and he said, "One of the things, I don't want them to lose their confidence." I said, "Well, that's a legit question, because if you start to let the confidence, if we want to say that's what it is, if you let it slip, sometimes just getting back to gaining it again is almost good enough now, because you feel." I don't know if I'm saying that right, but when you have confidence, here's the thing. We're talking about this. When you're a hockey player or anything in life, to be quite honest with you, when you have confidence and you know that you can do something, it's a natural thing. So when I remember that I was just saying to him, when I played hockey, as a confident hockey player, I knew that I was going to get on the ice, probably win the face-off, probably make a play, probably carry the puck up the ice, make a good play, get a shot on net. If I didn't, I would back check it, steal a puck, hit someone, and it was natural. I never thought twice about it, right? Until I got to OHL, and you start sitting the pine a little bit, which you're supposed to do, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden you wonder, and then you make a mistake and the coach is all over you. And then you wonder, you question yourself, and then you doubt yourself, and you play not to make mistakes. So getting back to the confident person, it takes a lot of time if you ever get back there. Does that make sense? Because the swagger is like, they create a doubt in your mind if you're not mentally strong. So one of the things I said to him was, "There's a mental game here that your son has to go through and stuff." But anyways, I'm going to stop it and just kind of said, when you hear that, what are your thoughts? Like, okay, so like, let's just say, does this ruin chances? Does this? What would you do if you were the dad? What would you like? And I'll say how I thought about it.
So my first thing when people say like the opportunity part, it's different. I kind of am thinking of it two ways. Like, one is the OHL side of it. When you're in the OHL, opportunity means something different than when you're in youth hockey, let's say. Because youth hockey, you actually have some choice. When you're in the OHL, you don't really have as much choice. So what I mean by choice is the parents could say, "Well, I could go to this team instead of that team. We could play AA. We could
in youth hockey."
In youth hockey.
Yeah.
So you can actually impact the situation more so than if you're in the OHL and you're stuck on this team, and
because they own your rights.
They own your rights, right? So I'm kind of splitting it in my mind two ways to start. So first, from the if I frame it from just in general about opportunity, I think the most important thing for any athlete is to get opportunity to do stuff. So, and what makes me think of this is when you have players that want to move to, let's say, the GTHL because it's going to be better because more people watch and all of that stuff. I don't care what anybody says about anything. That will never trump, do you get to play more or not? So it doesn't matter. I don't care if you could move to the Toronto Junior Canadiens and be the number 8 forward, or you could play on the Chatham Cyclones and be the number 2 forward. I would take the Chatham Cyclones because you're going to be the guy that gets to play the most. I have felt both things as a player where I'm not the guy that gets the priority and I've been the guy that gets the priority. Getting the priority is the most important thing because you just feel good about your game. This goes to your confidence thing. This goes to in terms of your opportunity to develop for development purposes. What people talk about all the time. That's the most important is developing and all that stuff. If you don't get an opportunity to play in different scenarios and be a guy that gets the most amount of ice time you could get, then you should look at making some type of change. I think that's the number one thing over what team you play for, where the team is, whatever. You could be playing in Thunder Bay. If you're the number 1 guy in Thunder Bay, people are going to see you play, and that's good for you to be a go-to guy. So that's number one. If you're getting into junior hockey now, OHL, whatever, now it's a little bit different because there's a little bit of a, well, how long have you waited? Because now you're not dealing with just your age group. You're not dealing with you're the only guy to worry about. Now it's like you have 4 years of players. You have guys that have been through it. So the dynamics of how the team is totally different. So for someone to call you saying, like, if the kid is in the OHL and it's like, hey, he hasn't really got the opportunity, my first question will be like, well, is it his first year? Is it his second year? Is it his third year? What are we talking about exactly in terms of the timing? Because the other thing, we talk about this a lot, is everybody wants everything right now. And we did that episode, the John Tortorella clip of sometimes you just got to wait your turn, man. Like, and as you get up higher, relaying that message of control what you can control and, find a way to learn and earn, like you say, and your opportunities will come at some point. And I think that's true in junior hockey if you're good enough, if you're patient enough, if you do the right things and all of that. If you're a 4th year guy or whatever, maybe that's a different conversation. But that's kind of, I guess, my general thoughts to start. I'll let you take it from there, and then we can.
Yeah, no, that's good. I wanted to hear what you thought.
Yeah. So that's where I think that's where my mindset goes to start. I just think it's. I think everyone's just. We've said it so many times. Everybody's in a rush, man. Everybody wants it all right now, and I don't know the dynamics of the situation you're talking about because there are, like you said, justifiable things that happen where. Yeah, maybe the kid's getting buried. Like with the year or two with Charlie, it was like, yeah, he's just not getting the love right now for whatever reason. But then he did, though. He did after. So I think that's what
That's exactly what I said.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you could talk all day about this. So I could go all over the map here, and I probably will. So I asked all those questions too, like where are we at with the coach, the manager, all this stuff, and I know what year he's in and all that stuff. So my first thing was like, well, if it makes any, I said, first of all, when I give you this information, not you, my bud, good buddy too, what a good guy. I said, if it helps you, I said, the first thing I have to tell you is that your boys are not my son. So I'm telling you this I'm trying to be as compassionate or empathetic as I could possibly be. But I know the difference between giving someone advice and then asking for, like, when it actually pertains to you, you care more. So I said, I'm trying to be as empathetic as I can. When my son was going through, and for me, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, there wasn't a chance. There was one coach that he had in junior that it didn't seem like anything he did, even though he was earning. It was like anytime he had a chance, like it wasn't his time, no matter what he did. Maybe it was the style that he played. Maybe it wasn't his attitude. It wasn't anything like that. It might have been something about his game that the coach, or maybe his personality, that rubbed this guy the wrong way, and you aren't going to get the chance. It's not your time. Not with me. Although the advice that we gave our son is go have a discussion, and that was George Burnett being very helpful too. Like he always said, the first thing to always do is go talk to the person you have a problem with or an issue with or you want to talk to. So my kid always went into the office and say, hey, do you got a couple minutes? Not every day, a couple times a year or a couple times, and had the hard talk and held the coach accountable. And it ended up working out. So anyways, first thing was talk, find out. And I think people miss that step a lot. To have an honest conversation. Sometimes conversations don't go the way you want, so you might not think it's as honest as you want it to be. You know what I mean? So that was number one. And number two is my advice as a dad and from hockey and being a dad was you have to work for everything you got. That's what I just told my son. I said, you are going to be one of these guys. And my wife said the same thing. You're going to be one of these guys. No matter how good you are, it just seems like everything you do, if you were supposed to go first overall, you were going to go second. Right? If you're going to get drafted, like his draft year, there's nothing really that changed about his game. Like really. And the first year he didn't get drafted. The second year he did. And really nothing's changed. So I said, you just have to continue to work hard and do the right things consistently and believe in yourself. And then even when you're getting to the harder parts, it's like, I am believing myself in all this stuff. The next question is, do you love playing the game? Like, do you really want this thing? And if you love the game, then play because you love it and good things will happen. Like there's a lot of ways to look at it, but that was always the advice that I gave was like, just do not ever stop because you never know when your opportunity is going to come. Then, so I said that. And I said to him, to my bud, I said, in my son's scenario, I said, there was a lot of times where he'd look at me and go, Dad, what else do I need to do? And I go, you got to just keep going because no one gives a shit about you. This is my son and I talking. No one cares about you, son. You know, and you're not going to play in the NHL when you're 18 or 19 or 20. You're going to play, if you do, you're going to play at 22, 23. So everything in between doesn't really matter as long as you work hard and build good habits and all that kind of stuff. Your time will come. Saying that to your kid is hard because you're saying that with the hope that something just goes right. Just give them the chance because, like, as a parent, so everybody that has when you have a kid playing the game and you're saying, well, if he got that power play. Now, here's the other thing. We were just talking about this. There was a kid that played with my son and Gervais on Jervs was a 05 like my son. And when they played youth hockey, they were pretty good. And they'd rotate like a left winger on them. And there's like some guys would work out, some guys wouldn't. So one kid really wanted to be on that line. And they ended up putting him on the line. And then when that guy got on the line, he thought he was the guy. And he didn't know how to enhance that line or take advantage of it. Like he would have been great going to the net. He would have got the puck all the time. But he wanted to be like a skill guy. Like it didn't work. So you got to be careful too. Is like sometimes you don't get an opportunity because you really don't fit. Sometimes you get an opportunity, you don't know how to react to it. And there's a lot of things like that, right? So
Yeah.
what were you gonna say?
Yeah, like same thing. Like I got to pull a lot of.
I know,
but
this is
a great
big
topic,
one
man.
because
it's
it's dad, mom,
yeah, it's a great topic.
kid.
I think just one of the things that I've been learning. Unfortunately, it wasn't in the context of hockey, even though I'm sure my parents said this to me multiple times. You probably said it to me when I was playing. But nobody's gonna help you, man. Like no one's gonna help you. You have to do it. And once you start doing it, then people help you. You know, but the help doesn't come first. And I think a lot of times when you talk to the parents, the players, families, we've said this before too. It's like entitlement's not necessarily the right word, but people are thinking that there's going to be some bounce they get or they're going to catch some break of like whatever. Like you have to make the break. Like you have to do it. And I've learned this the most recently just talking with Dan about him doing it in business, where he's and it makes so much sense in sports and all that stuff because it's all the same. It's all the same. And he would talk about it and he was saying it in business of just like you have to be the one that does it. Like you have to do it. You can't just you can't sit around and wait for things to happen. So if you're in this situation where you know like you're doing everything, you feel like you're doing everything you possibly can. Are you though? Are you doing everything you possibly can?
And it could even be as simple as going back to what I just said. Like when we were talking to him, first thing I would do is have the conversation. Do you have the conversation? So I'm not talking just about my buddy and his kid. I'm talking about anybody. When you sit there in the car looking like you're weaned on a dill pickle and you're complaining and you're playing out scenarios and you're creating, coach doesn't like me, what, blah, 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 and you didn't have a conversation. Maybe coach didn't even realize it. Maybe the coach has grand plans for you. You don't know. So instead of stewing in it, it's like exactly what you said and what Dan Crosby said. You take action first, and then because you can't move a parked car. So as long as you put it in neutral and you can steer it a little and push a little bit, you're going to get somewhere, right?
Yeah, and almost. I know we've said this before too. Whenever and I've found this just working generally too. Anytime you take action on something, I'm going to say 99% of the time feel better after. It's the uncertainty, the anxiety, the unknown of staying where you are, like not moving is what can create a lot of that feeling.
And isn't that what we always talk about mental toughness 101?
Oh yeah.
It's the first step, right? The first step is if you want to be mentally tough is don't overthink. Don't think about tryouts in a week. Big game tonight. Oh my God, what if this guy runs me? What if this guy plays this guy? And you run through these situations where it may never happen. And then things that you worry about create anxiety, good or bad. And then the things that you think about all day usually don't happen anyways. And if they do, it's never as bad.
I have such a good example of this. So I can still remember this, like to a T. Second year junior. I remember my second year junior. And same thing. My first year, I wasn't getting like a ton of love necessarily. But reflecting back on it, I actually got a lot more than I thought at the time. But my second year, I was like, okay, like this will be my year. This is when like I'm going to get everything and all that shit. And I don't remember exactly the timeline, but I remember my dad I was in a little rut of like not, if I wasn't getting points or like whatever it was that I was crying about. And I remember my dad telling me that exact thing, like, go talk to your coach, go talk to your coach, go talk to your coach. And that's all he would say. Like we've talked about it enough. Like go talk to your coach and figure out what he's thinking. And I was so stubborn about, I already know what he's going to say. Like, I'm not going to talk to him. And I was the one that had to sit with the shit feeling of like, I'm not good. He hates me. I like my hockey careers, whatever the negative thoughts were that I was thinking. Finally, and credit to my coach, he came and ended up talking to me. And whether he knew how long I had been struggling with it or not, I don't know. But he happened to decide to pull me aside to talk to me. And that was where I said this a million times. He just said, what's going on? Basically, like, what's up? Like, basically, I'm not performing. And I have every excuse. I'm on the fourth line. I'm not playing with good players. This, that, the other thing. And he was just like super calm and just said, okay, like you, Eric, it's your responsibility to figure out how to contribute or I'm taking you out of the lineup. That was it. That was all I got from him. He didn't say, oh, okay, I feel sorry for you. I'll put you on the power play or I'll put you. He didn't say that. He said, find a way to contribute or you're not playing. And that was when I started to try to do other things. That was when that was the first time ever playing hockey where I started to realize like, oh, I have to do this. I have to do this. And I didn't figure it out that day and it was smooth sailing after that. Like I struggled with it for the rest of my time playing. It's because I always thought like I wanted to be a points guy. I wanted to be whatever. And I've told the story about my coach telling me I should play like Scott Hartnell a bunch of times. I'm like, what is that? What? And so it's not like I would just flip the switch and I got it then, but that was the first time where I was like, okay, I have to do something. I got to figure out something. It's on me. It's not on somebody else. And I really just think that messaging would be much better, better suited for a lot of players. Just like you are the one that has to actually drive it. Like you can't just wait for your coach to help you or for you to be playing with better line mates or whatever. Like you have to find a way to contribute. That's the most important thing. And that is just such a translatable skill to like anything. It's like you have to be the one that makes the impact or nobody cares. Once you start making the impact, then more people care about you.
Well,
that's what happens.
I've seen that with, it's so crazy. Like I said, my son his game hasn't changed. And since he'd been drafted, because he was drafted to the Dallas Stars, now he's different. I swear to God. Like the media likes it more. They put that behind, drafted. And it's like the same player, man. It's the same player.
It's almost like you have to earn the help. You don't by default get the help. You would think, and it's unfortunate because you would think, yeah, the people that need the help will get the help. That's not how she works, man. It's like you have to show you're worth helping. That's what the reality is. And it's like that everywhere. Like I think of it here. It's like I have to figure it out at the end of the day. People are just throwing problems at me all day. Like that's what I have to figure. I'm the one that has to figure it out. That's part of my job. When you're a hockey player, that's your job. Figure out how to be like someone that is going to contribute to the team environment in a positive way. And that's what's going to get you more opportunity. That's what's going to get you. And I think like that kind of ties into I was talking about the culture stuff too. Like I think that ties into that because as parents, like what do you want what do you want your kid to be? Like, and as a kid, what do you want to be? Do you want to be the type of kid that always has to rely on somebody else, or do you want to be able to do things on your own and contribute on your own and impact on your own? And everybody wants the second type of person. Like that's what everybody wants.
Yeah,
you know?
self-starters, everything.
Yeah, and that contributes to that the culture of where you are. That's how you can become someone who can impact the culture of wherever you are in a positive way, right?
Yeah, one of the things that I was saying to him yesterday was like, there's because he's mentioned, he goes, like, he's a good teammate. And I go, yeah, here's the problem though. It's a problem, or it's good, or it's bad. I don't know. So some guys don't bitch, don't whine. They accept, and it's okay. Like I'm gonna I'm on the third line or fourth line or whatever, not on the power play. I'm gonna just do a good job, and that's a good attitude. But if you don't have a conversation, you don't know if that's all your lot in life is. So like it would be good to, that's why I encourage people to go talk to the coach and not pretend talk, have a talk and understand, because the coach could say, no, listen, like, and I did this with 2 kids on our team. And now the one is getting looked at from every team. Not because of my competition. I'm not saying this because of my conversation with him, but I said, stop worrying about points. You're shut down D. Be mean, be hard, whatever. And he just continued to play that way. And he seemed a little less worried about points. I said, the offensive side of the game, that's not your game. And then he keeps telling me every day, this team called this team. I got an interview with this team. He's got interviews coming out of his ass. I said, see what I said to you? I told you what to put your focus on because that's the type of player you are. So my point to saying that is that if you stay quiet and you just go and seek help elsewhere, or you just accept what you are, you might not know the reason. Like it could be not the way you want it to be, but at least you know. So like there's plenty of kids that want to get points and be on the first power play. It's like you're never going to be that guy. Or you are going to be that guy. I don't know. But if you're not going to be that guy, like it might hurt your feelings at first, but like it's good to know that someone that's a professional or someone that has interest in you or someone that you value their opinion is saying in a decent conversation, not saying that you're shit and you can't play anywhere. It's like there's so many guys in the world that have higher skill and they're just better at this, but can't do this. So this is why you should focus on being this third line guy, because this third line guy is going to have opportunity. If you do it better than most people, you have more of a chance to play in the NHL than a guy that is a power play or a goal scorer because there's actually more room.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 right?
Yeah. That's a really good point.
Or you could be a squeaky wheel. And this is my other thing I said to my buddy is that, or you could have a conversation, like if you say nothing and just go with the flow, which is not, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. If you say, I'm just going to get here, I'm going to go here. Apparently I'm on the fourth line or the third line, whatever it is, or I'm not on the first power play, whatever, special teams, whatever. Or you're on special teams, you don't get anything else, whatever. And if you just say, okay, this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to do it well, and you go through it, that's okay too. That's really okay. And you try to be the best you can, and hopefully things open up for you. So I'm not saying that it couldn't. Or you question it, or you do want to test things out and you become a squeaky wheel, not a pain in the ass squeaky wheel, but you say, coach, whatever, and you have conversations. And if things don't go your way or the way you like, and there's plenty of guys like that, then when it doesn't go exactly the way they want, when they want it, they're call my agent, talk to them, and they make threats, or they're saying, I'm out of here. I'm out now. And there's another way to approach it. But that side is, that side, if you just don't know what's on the other side either. But anyways, it's one or the other, right? And you got to be happy with the other thing. And then, like before I think the biggest thing that people have to look at too is what are you? Because a lot of players, when they complain, or I don't want to say complain, but when they're questioning that they're not getting opportunity, it's like, number one, what are you doing to get the opportunity? And maybe you're just 1 month behind. Maybe you're 1 week away, one shot away, one injury away from getting that opportunity. So are you doing everything you can where you are, being the best player you are? And maybe it's right there and you just don't even know it. And maybe it's just like, as we said, it's just not your time yet. So that's my last piece with that would be, is you got to just continue to, because getting your major opportunity at 18, 17, 18, 12, whatever it is, might cost you, let's say at 16, might cost you a draft pick in the OHL, like a higher draft position. But if it's not your time, it doesn't matter in the long term. And in the OHL, if it costs you a draft position at 18, it's not the end of the world. You got till 25. So it's a matter of keep going, because if you want this and you're going to do the right things for a long period of time, you will have an opportunity. But the next thing you have to look at is like, are you, like, as a parent, is my kid just actually good enough? Yeah. It's like, am I just asking for something that's just not there? And as I said that to my friend, I said, like, it's really, really hard. Said, and you know, you try to watch this as a hockey player and as a coach and all these things, like, objectively, and just say, okay, what's going on? But when your son's on the ice, that's what you're watching, and you're looking at, well, if my son had this, he would have that, and that's the trickiest part about this, right?
Yeah. So two things from that. This is good. I like this. The one, when you're talking about opportunity, I think the other piece of it is like, how do I want to say this? What type of opportunity are you talking about? Right. So are you identifying where the opportunity is and going to it, or are you only looking for a certain kind of opportunity? So that's another way to think about this as well, because most players are going to think that opportunity means playing on the power play, getting the points, getting the most amount of minutes, and all of that. Sometimes there's opportunity in other places, though, if you choose to see it. So maybe it is like, the stupid example came to my head. For my U18s for next year, I have one right-hand forward on my team. I think you guys are the same, actually, with U16s. There's like very few right-hand shots. So my one forward right now that's a right-hand shot, I hope he knows that he's the only right-hand shot, because that could mean if he performs well in a certain way, he's going to get more opportunity because he's a right-handed shot. And so does he know that? Is he identifying that? Or is he going to think, if I put him, let's say I put him the goal line on the left side of the net because he's a right shot, that's where I think his opportunity is going to be. And he's like, well, I need to be flank on the power play. And he's so caught up, why am I not getting the opportunity to be flank on the power play? It's like, you could have this opportunity right here that I'm willing to give you if you're willing to identify it and take it, right? And part of that is a communication thing and all that, but there's opportunity in places that you don't see it. And I think I was listening to an interview with, I want to say it was Draisaitl or somebody, I think it was Draisaitl, and he was kind of saying how, as the top end players at the professional level, he said, we know that the other guys on our team need to get their minutes in order to feel like they're being effective, because they know what their job is. So they can't play me for the whole game, because that's going to come at the detriment to our third line guy who needs to get his 12 minutes. If he doesn't get his 12 minutes, he's not going to be feeling good about himself and his game. And those are the kind of dynamics that start to happen at the higher level. So maybe you're the third line guy that is going to play 12 minutes. Is that the sexy job that you thought you were going to have? Maybe not. But if you're willing to see where the opportunity is, then maybe you could actually find it. And I think that's what you were, and a good example that you gave with the kid from our team, of how, he wanted to be this other thing. I want the opportunity to be this other thing. It's like, but you have so much opportunity if you just be this thing, which you are. And the fact that he was able to, like, comprehend that, have the maturity to see that is likely the case, and do that at such a young age, like, that's awesome for him, because now all these opportunity he's getting, he probably wouldn't get if he, didn't choose to see that as an actual opportunity, and instead chose to see it as an insult, or, he's not good enough to be this or whatever, instead of just seeing that there's other jobs. So that was one point. You want to say anything on that? Because then I got another point.
You go.
So then my other one, this was, I've heard this as a business principle a lot, and I think it goes to the greater theme of just being patient in general, which, again, this isn't the culture right now of being patient, but the saying was, a lot of people will overestimate what they can do in a year, but underestimate what they can do in 10. And from a business perspective, that is where the phrase comes from, but you bring it into the hockey perspective, and I think it's the same thing. Is everybody, you go into a new season, and I remember doing this. I go into a new season, I'm like, I'm going to score 50 goals. I'm going to have this, that, and the other thing this year. This is my time. I thought that going into my second year of junior and all of that. And it's like, yeah, like if somebody would have told me, hey, this is actually a 4-year project, it's not a 1-year project, like, that would have been helpful. Like, that would have been good to know. But everybody wants everything right now. And I think there's something to be said for trying to instill a certain amount of patience in the new, younger generation of kids. And it's hard because they're so used to just playing with their age group only all the way up. And then all of a sudden they have to jump into a new pool where it's a 4 or 5 year age gap, with all these different dynamics and business interests at play, and agents and coaches and jobs, and it's a very big transition. And I don't think we adequately prepare the kids that are going into that. They don't really realize how different it is. It's not just playing the game anymore. And even in youth hockey, it's starting to get a little bit more business like in a lot of ways, which is not my favorite. But I think trying to instill some patience in the kids to understand, like, this is a process. It is a long process. It's a long process. It's not going to be very, very rare that you're going to jump in your first year of anything and be all of a sudden the guy that is doing anything. That's very few and far between. And preparing your teams, if you're a coach, preparing your kids, if you're a parent, like, that is what their attitude should be. Is like, you say it best, like, I'm here to earn and learn, or learn and earn, whatever, and grow into what I want to be, and grow into where I can find some opportunity to make an impact. And it's just, we don't do a great job of getting kids to understand that. Instead, it's about, well, where are you going to go right now that's going to put you in the most highlight position that you could be in. It's like, it's just not, I just don't agree with it. Like, I just don't think that's the right way of doing things, but that's what most people chase. Like, loaded team, could win tournaments, could do this, do that, promise this, promise that. And that is attractive. Like, I can understand the allure for families that maybe they don't know any better, any different. And
The easy path's not the good path, though.
it's just
It's not like very, very
long
few
term,
people,
right?
But yeah, the typical person doesn't need the easy path. Like, this is probably the worst thing for you. Making the game of hockey or the game of life the easy way is just not beneficial to you long term. Like, the struggles are real; they're really good. As you were talking about patience and all that stuff, I was just going back to what we started off this conversation with, is like getting back into shape. Well, it took me 5 years. I would say 5 years of getting leaky to put on, I would say, 12 pounds of ugly shit. And this is with doing some working out and keeping an eye on my diet and stuff like that. It took 5 years to get where I am right now. All these chins, right? All these chins, this fat face, my hat, like 10 pounds of shit in a 5 pound bag, right? That's what it is right now. So
Yeah.
when you get going, you got 3 days in, you're eating healthy and stuff like that. And you go weigh yourself, you go look in the mirror and you go, hey, dude, what do you want? When did you want it to come off?
Yeah, right.
Right? You made progress these 3 days. You might have lost 3 ounces, which is good. But you walked 2 miles in the bush. You got to walk 2 miles back out. You got to do the work in the process. And so, speaking of that, we was talking to my brother, my buddy, about this. At some point, this is like not wrapping this up necessarily, but wrapping up like my thoughts on this is, if you don't think you're having an opportunity, you can create an opportunity. And if you don't think someone doesn't see it, the smart people do. So, like with my bud, that his son's playing in the OHL, like, if his boy does what he's supposed to do, and I can't explain to him what he's supposed to do or not, but going and clobbering someone might have been the answer, might be the answer. I don't know, but playing a consistent whatever, and maybe embracing the fact that if you're not on the first power play, to grind through and be the best third line guy in the league. What does that mean? Like, the scouts know. Teams that are scouting and want to make trades know. They're looking for a certain type of player. And if they could see someone winning face-offs and finishing checks and defensively responsible, and it might not be the flashiest thing, you will get the opportunity. That's the word I was looking for. You will get the opportunity. The problem is, it just might not come exactly when you want. So it might mean you have to play an overage year. Might mean that you might get the opportunity when junior's done and you get a D1 scholarship to Robert Morris, and it's not the school that you wanted to go to, but you play really well there and for a year or two, and then it's going to come at some point if you stick to it, and if you do something to earn that next phase, right? And then the other question we had, I said, like, we both talked about this. It was kind of said at the same time, is, so you could do it that way, or you could give a timeline. Like, you could call your team right now and say, listen, I don't feel like, it's been how many years? I don't feel like this is not worth that anything is going to change, and we want to get out. And then you have to live with the decision. Maybe that was a good decision or a bad one, because you never know what's on the other side. Or you say, we're going to do this for 1 month, And if the opportunities aren't there, then we want to be dealt. Like same thing though. You got to be willing to look at what's on the other side, which you never know. I said to my bud, I said on the other side, and he knows. Like I'm not telling him anything he doesn't know. He goes, exactly. He goes, you don't know what's on the other side. So I said, so that you either say quiet or you do something about it. But the thing is that you just try to make the best of your opportunity and like really embrace what you are, even though you think you might be something else. But you know, then prove people wrong somehow.
Yeah,
Prove
I think
people wrong.
the thing I wrote down that you said that I liked was you could be fooled by, you know, if you play maybe where you could be more dominant or something like that, you can start to believe that you're something you're not. And I think that is something to be aware of when you're, and that, I think that goes in youth hockey particularly. Like if you're a goal scorer in youth hockey, it's really important to ask the question of like, okay, well, how am I scoring my goals? Like, is this something that actually is translatable? So like if you, like, let's say you're 12 and you scored 70 goals this year, and it's because you can go bar down every shot before everybody else. It's like, okay, does that mean you're going to keep scoring 70 goals every year? Like, I don't know, right? I don't know if that's going to be what happens or not. If you score 70 goals and you score them every which way, you're getting to the net, you can shoot, you can deke, you can make plays and all that stuff. It's like, okay, maybe there's more to come there. And it's hard to figure that out as a kid for sure, but even as the parents, when you're watching, like, how do you know what translates and what doesn't? And if you're not really experienced in hockey, it's hard to make those judgments. But it's important to, whether it's junior to junior level or it's a youth level and you're going to jump up a level. It's how does your current strengths, how do those translate up? Because that's what ultimately will determine what your role is going to be if you're going to be successful at a higher level. You said with the kid on our team, big, mean, shutdown type style D. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but you're basically projecting out years down the road what about him right now looks like it will translate to be successful later. And it's those attributes. And I was thinking of this while you were talking about all that. I was thinking about one of the kids on my team this year, Hunter Curry. This kid is like, I love this kid. I love this kid. And the reason I love this kid is because he is the exact same player every single game. He is so predictable. He's in the best way. Consistent.
Yeah.
And he plays like an absolute dump truck. Like he can skate well. He can handle the puck well. He can make passes. Like all that stuff he can do well. Like it's not like he can't do that. But the reason he's so valuable is because he plays hard. He's hard to play against. He will make you feel it. He won't back down. And it has nothing to do with his playmaking. It has nothing to do with his skills. And I remember we came in, we had a meeting with him and I, and then you, when we watched some video. And I do really feel like he's bought into what we had talked about before.
I feel so.
And like
I feel so.
He hadn't gotten much direction until he came here. And I think it was probably the first time he heard, like, dude, the reason you're valuable is this. It's not what you think people care about. And he's probably gonna end up going to OHL camp this year. And so like that's just because he has decided that, hey, there could be some opportunity here if I decide to play this way. And he's not allowing the fact that he's, maybe I had this conversation with him too about making the jump to junior versus he was maybe debating doing another year of U18. And I said, with your style of play, you need to jump into a bigger pool now. Like you need to go, like if you came back to U18 and you just smash everybody all the time, it's like you need to go in where somebody can match you, with guys that are big and strong and will get in the battle and start to sharpen your skills in that arena. I think that's what's smart. And because this is the same thing. Like if he played down, he could get fooled by like, how tough are you actually now when you have to go against the guys that are tough and you have to go against guys that are going to put up a fight and all of those things. And so I think that's just a really important principle out of what you said of just like you want to be very aware. It takes a lot of self-awareness that you don't get fooled about what you might be or whatever. Like I literally remember like 10 years ago, we would have kids at Power Tech on the treadmill and they'd be talking to us about their year of junior or whatever. And the kid would walk out and you would just be like, oh my God, like he has no clue. He has no clue. He doesn't know what he is. He doesn't know what he can be. He doesn't know what he's going to be. Like and so providing some of that direction when you can as like parents or coaches, it would be super valuable. So
one of the things that I'll finish up here in a sec, but one of the things that's funny is that's why Charlie's so happy that he got to experience all those things because he realized, okay, like number one, he realized that he can score. But he's not a sniper. He's not a goal scorer. He can score. He's got a great shot, like all those things, but he does it the hard way. But if he's in the same opportunity as, let's say, Adam Banak in or Van Acker, they're goal scorers. That's what they do, right? So Charlie will chip in with goals. Some will be tips, a lot of them around the net, and some will be just some beauty highlight ones. But most of his goals are really hard working. He realized, and I'm glad he did, is like, especially when he went to Brantford, he realized this is the role when I play in the NHL. This is what it's going to be. I'm not going to get the first line power play. Might never get a power play, but he might because he has the ability to go that way too. But the foundation of his game is he knows what it is, and that there's a lot of opportunity for him to be the best that he wants to be. Like if he, I'm not going to say chooses because it's too, but if he focuses on being the best, whatever that description is of him as a hockey player in the world, he can do that. He can work at being the best in the world at what he does. And that fits him in every lineup in different, not only on one line. Whereas if he only scored goals, or if he had a goal scorer thing with a whole bunch of missing, it limits him to one spot, maybe on a team. So then you don't really get to play. So like going back to my buddy or anybody else, if you're playing junior, major junior, or youth hockey, whatever, and you're not on the first power play, it's actually a pretty good indicator of your future. You're probably never ever going to do that. So you can. And my buddy wasn't worried about being on the power play. He was just saying opportunity in general. But if you're not getting the big time opportunities, then that's probably where your lot in life is, no matter what. Even if you get to make money playing hockey, so you should actually embrace. I get 9 minutes a night. They're going to be the best 9 minutes anyone's ever seen, because someone will see those 9 minutes, and like the more that you can embrace that actually is your opportunity. Your opportunity is hidden. It doesn't look like an opportunity, but that is your opportunity. Because I can tell you this: there's a lot of people that dream to be in the NHL, but no one's dreaming of being the fourth line guy that gets 3 shifts a game, go out, hit someone, and come off. They'll take it if that's, but no one dreamed of that. But that's, if you understand that, you can play for a long period of time, OHL, whatever, right? So that's like last. Here's it was an example. I'm thinking about this friend of ours, Eric Wellwood. So Eric was an incredibly fast skater, scored a ton of points playing youth hockey, tons, all the points. So he got drafted to the Windsor Spitfires when they were good. So the first year, I think he played 5 games or 9 games, like as a junior B guy, 1 point. The next year, you're going to pull up his stats? Yeah. The next year, so he played for 4 years with the Windsor Spitfires. They won 2 cups. Was not drafted until his overage year, his last year. In those first 3 years or 4 years, he never saw 1 power play. Not 1 power play. And he got drafted to the NHL because he was a good skater, penalty killer and stuff. But he managed to get his points in his first 3 years, all even strength, which is impressive.
Yeah, so first year, he played Tecumseh Chiefs Junior B, had 20 points in 34 games that year playing Junior B. He played 23 games, had 7
with the Spits?
That first year, 7 points. Next year, his second year, played the full season, 16 points.
How many goals the first year? That second year?
Second year, 9 goals.
9 goals.
61 in his third year, played 61 games, 34 points. And then his last year, 65 games, 68 points. He scored 31 gols in overage year, all even strength.
Yeah, well, he touched some power play that year, but not much. Second unit.
Yeah.
So, my point to that with Eric was he was a really, really good hockey player. Like really, really, really good. Like one of the best skaters you've ever seen. Fast, whatever. And he didn't complain. He just went out and did his job. I think they said by his third year, he was contemplating asking for a trade to get more opportunity. So most of his points were even strength. And if you think that you're not going to get noticed if you're not on special teams, it's just simply not true. You just do what you do well. And he skated well enough, competed hard enough. and penalty killed and all that stuff to get himself noticed, to get himself drafted 6th round to Philadelphia Flyers. Then had a decent like a good season his last year. Did they win a cup his last year? Yeah. So he was on a loaded team again. Yeah. And then he went on to play until his injury, played in Philadelphia Flyers. He almost lost his life playing, but that's he's a really good example, because I remember him talking, like, because some guys we were talking, and how some guys were talking about how great they were, and he's like, "You're not even close to what I was."
Yeah.
Like, how cocky is that?
Oh yeah.
You weren't even close to as good as I was.
Yeah.
And then they talk about their career, and he goes, "I never saw one power play, and I got 17 goals."
Yeah.
Right? And because he's such a little dick.
Yeah.
But he was just so true. He was laughing at them. He's like, "I got drafted," and then he coached with the Flint Firebirds and Oshawa Generals and all that stuff. And he was a really good coach. And it's like, that's a really good example, and it happens all the time, right?
Yeah. Interesting, man. That was good. That was a good topic.
Good.
I like that.
Good.
Spontaneous.
Well, thank you to I'm not going to say his name because then everybody knows who I'm talking about, but
yeah.
Thanks to my bud.
Yeah, thanks for the good topic. Okay, bye.